The purpose for our government is laid out in the preamble, right here. Is the government doing that?
Like this list, or let's see. So form a more perfect union. Okay, well, for one, forming a more perfect union means more unity in the country, right? So I don't think our government is really like taking any like necessary action to promote unity, because we live in modern day capitalism where it is more beneficial for things to be divided. At least there's profit to be made there, and you have like news cycles on both ends of like the political spectrum, basically like selling fear, like these 24-hour news cycles, and that division is money in their pockets. So are they doing anything to ensure a more perfect union? Probably not. Establish justice to an extent. I mean, we have a justice system, and growing up here, I have a lot of complaints about it, especially growing up in LA and not having like the traditional like South Asian childhood out here. But then again, if you compare it to like other world systems, it would be unfair to say like our justice system is like horrible. So I think they're doing like a C- job, but that's better than a lot of other countries. So at least I'm grateful for that. But it comes and goes. Let's just say that. Ensure domestic tranquility. I mean, yes and no. I think like our idea of tranquility is like what we are in right now, right? Like, got the Louis store over there and all the designer things. I mean, there's a lot of options for like our comfort, as a people, but I personally wouldn't associate that with tranquility, but others might. So, even though like, a lot of businesses are like, separate from the government, I think that the way our system is set up, it definitely benefits people who have businesses and certain businesses. And yeah, I mean, I guess we have options here. Um, Provide for the common defense. Depends who you classify as common, but I mean, maybe too much. We focus a lot on defense, but you know, we're also inflicting a lot of things onto others. So for the defense of who? For ourselves, I mean, sure, I guess. Maybe a little too much. Promoting general welfare, I guess that kind of goes back to like domestic tranquility, but I feel like general welfare is a little more like base level. Um, I mean, we have like social security programs and things like that, but I think that they can use some reform, and there's definitely room for improvement, but it's good that it exists at least. And finally, secure the blessings of liberty. Um, I'm not too sure what is meant by that. Um, but I guess like from my interpretation, it would be um, like the ideals of like liberty and how our country like sort of like stands on that. But not so much these days. There's a lot of I mean, going back to division, there's a lot of like people on one side and the other side. So I feel like, the early values of like liberty, or like, especially like Statue of Liberty, was like, we'll take your poor, and, I'm paraphrasing. But what I'm trying to say is that nowadays the attitude has really shifted. So I would say it's not secure anymore.
Okay.
So
So that's the you have a
I was
question?
going to say, so if you had to give a sort of one word or one sentence answer to that question, is our government doing those things? What would you say?
I would say they're doing some of these things, but for the most part, no. And they were made on a basis of doing those things, but yeah, it's not really happening anymore. Right. Well, who's responsible for the government to succeed?
Who's responsible to make sure that government does those things?
Right. Well, I mean, the people, right? But like, there's always this distinction between like the people and the government, because it's such a small percentage of like the actual population. But you know, we can vote on things, and I say, you know, we are responsible. I call me crazy, but I feel like we don't have as much power as we like to think we do in terms of like options and things of that nature when it comes to like voting. This is an unpopular opinion, but yeah, it seems like we're just voting for something that's very limited usually. So, I mean, the people are responsible for what the government, you know, how the government goes about enforcing these things. But yeah, I mean, the government also needs some sort of reform to where it's more representative of like everybody. But then again, a part of me thinks, do we want everybody collectively making decisions? Like, you know, I think it was like Thomas Jefferson who said like something along the lines of like letting like the governed like make decisions or something. But well, for one, if there was more focus on education in this country, then I'd have more faith in people making decisions. But unfortunately, it's not the case because our what's it called? Our common defense is a little too strong for all that. So unfortunately, education gets a little neglected. We'd rather be the strongest than the smartest, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
I'm going to steal that line. I love that.
You're welcome to.
Yeah, that's it. That's all the questions we have.
Awesome.
Govinder.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna say something.